So when I was little, I used to have a tape recorder, and I would have my friends come over to the house, and we would literally record ourselves having a conversation, and we'd play it back later, or sometimes not even play it back, but we'd make these tapes. And my dad has one somewhere. I need to find it and maybe try to find a way to play it for you guys, because my one friend, Tim, who lives over in Houston, we grew up together, and we made this time capsule box. And a few years ago, my dad found the time capsule, and even though there's all kinds of messages about who's supposed to open it, he opened it, and he listened to the tape, and he's like, "Hey, I got this box here, and there's a bunch of stuff in it." And you know, we weren't sure what was going to happen in the future, so we actually left a tape player in there, like a Walkman. Wasn't sure what would happen with batteries in the future, so we left a couple of AA batteries. And my dad mentioned that the AA batteries had begun to leak acid, but he'd got that cleaned up. And then when I asked him about the box, he didn't really remember telling me about it, so I don't quite have the tape yet. I told Tim about him finding it. Luckily, when he listened to the tape, my dad, he didn't catch the reference. Maybe he didn't make it that far into the tape, about 2/3 of the way in, where we talk about a particular pornographic video that we would have found from a stash that we found. And unless it wasn't my dad's stash. Ugh, there's a creepy thought, huh? Bottom line is, this is what I'm trying to explain, is just this is why I do this. I enjoy these conversations, and I enjoyed with my friends, the things that would come out whenever we were putting a conversation to tape. It was different than when we were just hanging out. I can't put my finger on it, but it's different, and it's what I like to do. And when I got on YouTube, I began like this video production side of it, because I've enjoyed videography, and you wouldn't know it by the poor quality of these current videos, but I enjoy videography, and I was trying to emulate some projects and things that I had seen. But when I really found my stride and really found my pace and enjoyment on here was when I began the interactive vlog conversations. So what I'm trying to say is, you meet all kinds of people on here, and some of those people have that similar motivation, and some of those people have that similar experience where it's almost what they do. And I personally, I akin it to art and specific, like music. A band has different instruments, and different people have different roles, and we vibe, and we get in a groove, and we play. So as to why Corey quit, there was a time when that vibe hit his frequency, and Corey's frequency is different than my frequency, and is different than Shafe's frequency, and is different than Bonnie Mommy's frequency, and Sned's frequency, and Real World Audacity's frequency, and Backwoods' frequency. And as it pertains to inspiration, and you can tell, like when Shafe is inspired, or when I am inspired, or when Backwoods is inspired, you'll see like 2 or 3 videos crank out, or a longer video, and it seems almost effortless. And then there's things that rip that inspiration from a creator. And I think last year, as in like early last year, when we did the big great comeback, the situations of censorship for Corey really just obliterated the center out of where he was working from. And between everybody else's malaise, that's the reason why he departed. I would say that, Shafe, you telling your audience that Corey left YouTube, Corey's happy, where everybody else is that are on YouTube, therefore maybe unhappy. I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's fair at all, especially in your case. You have what I consider to be a broad frequency. I've seen it. I've adjusted it. I've played with it. And you've played back, and we've shifted frequency. We've jumped tracks. We've adjusted on the fly after being censored. We've pushed the envelope of censorship just to see where the algorithm is, you know? And I dig that, man. I dig that. So Corey's not like that. And I don't think he was like that when he was producing a lot of videos either. He's remarkably creative. And I think he had a few people that he very much enjoyed on YouTube, such as Raw Dog and Pete. And there's people that you key into and you groove, and when those people aren't there, it makes it very challenging. And I'm going to go back to some of our lightning rods, such as the New York Critic and Randy Tooth. You know, those people were almost like our rhythm section. You know, you got doggone New York Critic on drums and Randy Tooth on bass, and, you know, say Corey in this scenario is on vocals. You know, what are you going to be, just singing a cappella? You know, not everyone's a Tracy Chapman that creates their own rhythm necessarily in this metaphor that I'm saying. So, and that's all right. Corey's really, it's not, I'm not going to say it's strange to say it, but we got along very well in person, and definitely a person I consider to be a friend. And he's a good guy, and I wish he were making videos on here, but I think it's good that he discovered the thing about YouTube bugging him. And it's good that, you know, people may not know this, and it's good that Raw Dog discovered the same thing, and he's healthier without it. And I'd rather them be healthy than for them to be in this sandbox playing with us, you know? So that's what I have to say about that. I think there's things that I hash out on here in real time that keep me happy, that keep me satisfied, that help me to express something in a forum that if I didn't have the opportunity to express the things that I express on here, I think it would bother me. And the fact that I have some live friends that I can trust enough with what I share and get just amazing feedback that I never want to take for granted is a wonderful experience. All this will play into the what Sned was reading, part 4, the sickness. I went back over thinking about it because Sned commented, and we definitely see two very different angles of it. I definitely took the business side of it, like, okay, how can we somehow manage to take these individuals and get back to achieving 8 hours of gainful production from them. And Sned saw, oh my gosh, I don't remember the exact numbers, but 8 million people out of 30 something million or 50 million or whatever it is, but it's a very large proportion are sick enough to where they seem to require medicinal intervention following this. Yeah, it's pretty wild. I think it ties into Shafe's explanation when he's talking about SSRIs and where we're turning our little brain synapses and connections into mush. This goes back to the thing, Mike Rowe, the paid actor, talking about the number of able-bodied individuals that aren't even seeking work. When you look at what they're doing for their pastime, you know, they're able to have like 11 hours a day of screen time. There's this beautiful distraction, this beautiful interactive distraction that transcends even what television used to be. You know, we can't so easily hearken back to, and I'll go ahead and quote it, the Dr. Kaczynski's power process. We're so far attached to it that we've almost maybe mentally created a barrier that no longer allows that power process to function. Maybe that was the Unabomber's point, to teach us all that lesson. And he knew. No, I'm just fucking with y'all. Okay. But it's, is there a way through it? Yeah, I think so. Is there going to be a reallocation of assets? Yeah, big time. Because what we used to be able to rely on is no longer going to be a resource. So, harken back, economically, money goes where it's appreciated. It's a bad situation when governments aren't allowing businesses to go bankrupt or to fail. You know, would during the lockdown, instead of the Paycheck Protection Program, instead of whatever, if businesses were allowed to collapse, would we be better off economically right now? I don't think inflation would be an issue, but we got people pulling the levers of the mercantilism to keep things afloat. You know, the moment George W. Bush, and it was George W. Bush that said this, when he said during the TARP, the Troubled Asset Relief Program, when he said these businesses were too big to fail, that broke my heart. And it hasn't been mended since. I don't have the answer, but I definitely have the questions, and I definitely got some friends. So good looking out, and hope everybody's doing well. Hope all y'all are recovering from winter good. Oh, look at that. You know, if those people would have their stupid lights off, I could show you that morning sky over there. Like, I don't know if y'all listen to Grateful Dead, that Touch of Grey, like their one hit song. Like the paint by numbers, the morning sky looks so phony. Catch y'all soon.